Hey guys, Justin with Ready Business Systems. Today I was just going to cover something a little bit different. A lot of you, if you haven't already, may probably be in the future in a situation where you want to buy a house or get a business loan for that matter. And I'm specifically making this video regarding buying a house because I've been in the position several times, so I just wanted to give you a little tips on how to make sure you're able to buy a house when you want to. So I learned the hard way, but really you need 2 years of planning and proper tax returns to be able to get qualified for a mortgage for a house and loans in general. So what they're going to do is they're going to look at your past 2 years tax returns. They're going to look at your previous year and the most recent year. So what they're going to look for is your income and your monthly liabilities and obviously your credit score. So in terms of your income, it's important to know that I'm going to use for an example 2018 and 2019. So 2019, if you had higher income in 2019 but a lower income in 2018, what they're going to do is they're going to take the average of 2018 income and the 2019 income. If, however, your income's declining and 2019 income was less than 2018 income, then they're going to take the lower income. They're going to take your 2019 income. So that can really screw you over when you're looking to buy a house, because that means you need to wait a whole nother year or another 2 years to be able to get qualified for financing. So the other thing in terms of your income is what counts for your income. So obviously they're going to count your business income. Depending on if you have a corporate structure or not, they may take into account your business and your personal income. But what I want to mention here is depreciation. So depreciation is key because obviously for a tax return, in terms of your tax liability, there's always some play there and ways you can manipulate numbers to get them the way you want to pay the least tax liability. However, that doesn't always line up with getting approved for a mortgage, because if you are able to manipulate your tax returns so that you made zero income and don't have to pay taxes, well, good for you. You don't have to pay taxes, fantastic, but you're going to show it to a bank and they're going to tell you to get lost. Because you don't make any money, they're not going to loan you any money. So they go by what's on the books. They don't really care outside of what you filed to the government. So a little way around that to lower your tax liability, keep your tax liability obligation down, as well as still get approved for a mortgage, is through depreciation. So with depreciation, they can add that back to your income. So if you say made $50,000 and you had $50,000 of depreciation, they're going to say you have $100,000 of usable income to get qualified for a mortgage. So if you can, depending on how your accountant depreciates your equipment, because it's not actually cash out of pocket. So if you pay for advertising, that's an expense. That's going to count against your income. But depreciation on your equipment is not a real number because you didn't have to pay someone that year. Here's 50 grand cash for depreciation. It came out of your equipment, but you still have that cash, and that's why they're able to add that back. So that's something important. The other things to keep an eye on is your monthly obligation. So what they're going to do is they're going to look at the minimum payments you have to make on all your loans that you have outstanding. So if you have loans through the business, like I have truck loans, I have business credit cards, they're under the business name, but they're not under, I'm just the guarantor on the loan. So when you run my credit report, you don't see all the truck loans I have. You don't have the credit card. You don't see the credit card loans. So that's a good little loophole for your credit in terms of your debt to income. They don't count that. Another thing is, in terms of your monthly liabilities, so you want to make sure you keep those down, because if you have a credit card, they're going to look at the minimum payment on that, and they're going to subtract that from your income in order to get you qualified. So you obviously want to keep those monthly liabilities down. Beyond that, obviously keeping a good credit score, and lastly, if you do have loans that do show on your credit score, so Sheffield Financial, for example, some of you may be familiar with that. They finance a lot of mowers and landscaping equipment. So those do appear on my personal credit report because they're not financed through the company. The way around that is they're going to want to see 12 months of payments of that clearing your business checking account. So if you have a $200 payment for a mower and you've had it for a year and a half, they can exclude that from your monthly liabilities if it comes out of your business account for 12 months, 12 payments. So this is just little tips for you, because being self-employed, obviously it's a little different than being a W-2 employee. And I hope I can save some people the same trouble that I went through. Because when you want to buy a house, you want to buy a house. And in my opinion, it's a great investment, because I try to always keep houses going on the side, because it's difficult to get house after house after house. There's some time to wait in between. I think it's a great way to save for your retirement. Great cash flow. You get a lot of write-offs from houses as well. So I personally have a handful of duplexes that I'm going to keep acquiring is my plan, and it goes hand in hand with the landscaping company. The houses do not depreciate. So with landscaping, you buy a $50,000 truck. Maybe in 10 years that truck is now worth, or 15 years, the truck's now worth 10% of its original value. So depreciation is real. That $50,000 truck may now be worth $5,000. Whereas when you buy a house for $300,000, you're writing off the depreciation each year. But in reality, when you go to sell that house, it's probably worth more than $300,000. So that's why I think that real estate is great to invest in. When you buy assets, they don't really depreciate like it does equipment for landscaping, where depreciation is a real number, a real thing. If you don't take that into consideration, you're going to go out of business, because your equipment does depreciate each and every year, and you need to make sure you somehow include a budget for that. So that's my little ramble about real estate. I just hope there's just a little tip. I'm in the process of getting another house, and I learned my lesson from years past, and all my tax returns are the way they should be, the way the mortgage broker wants to see them, so I was able to get qualified. So keep that stuff in mind. Visit the website, readybusinesssystems.com, and I'll catch you guys next time.